Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back, Xanax. How's your trip? And also, hello. We have a Zilby here, although he is facing completely away from the camera today. Good, awesome. I am doing good. Had a good weekend. Uh, weather is starting to get a little bit colder now. Not able to open the windows, overnight, that kind of thing. Although maybe sometime it'll start getting warming up a little bit. It's a little bit too early to be winter, but it's getting there. It is definitely getting there. Um, let's see. I was able to do a little bit of a drawing this weekend. Some friends came over and we hung out. Did some like drawing, which none of us are super good at. Uh, but it's sort of like a fun way to sort of hang out, chat, do something that's not screen related. All right. I am doing those recordings today, aren't I? Yeah, I'll keep that timer on. Okay, so where are we? All right. You're not really too good at it. Yeah, it's a hard skill to learn. Or rather, it's not super easy to learn. Oh, I'm not actually doing the lesson in here, am I? We can take a look at what we got. So we got the migrations and we got the seeds, but I think everything else is empty now, right? I think so. So then the next step, and I believe we ran those. When a person has 20 years of experience, can you say 2 decades? Decimal 10. Yes, you can. Yeah. A decade is one. So you basically you can also say decades. KO2 fan, hello. How are you doing today? All right. Let's see. We're opening code for this. You're doing good? Awesome. I'm doing pretty good. We're gonna jump into a recording, and we know how that went on Friday. So let's see. Where we left off, we had recorded the migrations, we had recorded the seeds, and now it's time for us to do to make everything else pass. So if we start up the database, not stop, it's already stopped. So if I run cargo test, those should still fail, but we should get more information about why they're failing. Yeah, we're just getting not yet implemented for everything. It's running these in order, isn't it? That's not super great. I probably should have done something like a 0, 1, 0, 2. Yeah, it's only running the authors and it's failing on those, so it's not even starting the test books. If I were to reorder these, and try this again. Yeah, then it tries to run. Then we need to get different errors. Interesting. Shouldn't this run the migration for us in here? Fail to apply migrations. Relation authors does not exist. Let me try killing Docker and restarting it just in case. Fail to apply migrations. Relation authors does not exist. Well, I mean, yeah. So here's our migrations. Oh. Why do we have two of these in here? I feel like this is the one we just created. And I somehow duplicated this file. Maybe it was like open in one of my editor buffers and I accidentally saved it after switching to this branch. I bet that's what it was. Okay, let's try this again. Relation authors does not exist. It should be running these. They're under migrations folder, which is at the root of the project. Oh, we have a .env. This .env should work. Okay, that works. That doesn't give me any errors. Return from database. Relation book authors does not exist. So it should have run that, but it's erroring out. Failed to apply migrations. Authors does not exist. What's going on with that? Why was that working before? And now it's not working. She get all books and their authors. Panicked. In the testing. Failed to apply migrations. Execute. Database error. Relation authors does not exist. If it's attempting to create the authors, that means it's attempting to create this book authors right here. Unless it was part of the seeds. I wonder if it was one of the seeds that was having the problem. Let's investigate the database and see what we have in here. So here's all of our databases. Okay, so you have authors, book authors, and books. You have all three. You have all three. Okay, so all of them have all of the I guess like the appropriate tables. Do you have, okay, so can I look at you? So book ID, author ID, structure. Can't make this any bigger, which is unfortunate. Okay, so book ID, integer, default. Constraints, books to book ID. Oh, wait. Did this not make... foreign? Oh, no. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it. We're gonna have to redo it. So this is not the correct way. Hold on. No thanks. This is not the correct way to create the foreign key. I think I have to do like do I have to say like foreign key and then it works? Foreign key references. So if I do that one. No, it doesn't like foreign. What did I do the first time? Okay, hold on. a bunch of these changes. I changed the names. I removed this migration. Which I don't know what the difference between that and this one is. So let's go ahead and revert all these changes, discard. Let's switch to the solution branch because we know that was working. Yeah, okay. So this is, isn't this what I did? Let's copy you. Actually, let's first just run these. Drop database. Yes. Drop the database. Oh, what can I do with that? It's like not set up. Oh, it's create. Okay. That runs. Oh yeah, we still have these databases here, but now this SQL tutorial should be fine. This should be reset. We've run the migrations. Book authors here for a structure. Primary key across both of them. Okay, so if I insert, if I create like an author, test author, create a book, test book, and for book authors we do 1, 1. Right? Okay, so that should be fine. Now I should be able to query that, right? So actually I think this select star from book authors, join, okay, so yeah, join authors on authors, author ID equals book authors, and then also join books set ID equals book authors. Yeah, okay, so that's working. And if I run these tests, everything's happy here. If I reset the database, okay, so yeah, we have nothing here. Going to here, we have nothing in here. So if I run the test again, you all fail. You don't all fail. All the tests pass, but the code fails to compile because of the query errors. Because I haven't run the documentation. Okay, okay. I guess that's good to know. That's weird though. Okay, if I change the order of these tests. Oh, interesting. Okay, so if I change the order of the test, nothing works because it has to compile first. If I run the migrations, then they're happy. Okay. Oh, okay. So having the having the code in a non-working manner, I don't think is helpful. I bet we have to go through at the very least the connection, which I thought we did. I thought we had gone through and done the connection in here. If I need to, I'll just comment out the tests, but I really don't want to do that. I would really like to like have them all up there. Uh oh, can I how do I tell it to run the tests in order and not to run them simultaneously in threads? There's a way to do that. It's like dash J. Yeah, okay. Number parallel jobs defaults to the number of CPUs, which I have a bunch. So if I do cargo test J1, that was really fast for that felt really fast. If I switch, okay, let's undo our change here. Let's switch back to our assessment solution and try this again. Wait, why are we still on solution? You say we're on assessment solution here. You say I'm on solution. Okay, fine. We're now in assessment solution. Great. Let's see. Then I want to cargo test J1. Is it J1 or J equals 1? Failed to apply migrations. Relation authors does not exist. And then if we take a look here, oh, right, it's because of this one. So if we delete you, then it's just all not yet implemented. Authors first. Now, if I were to move this up front, this is kind of what I was expecting to get this entire time. Running 0 tests. Oh, okay. Unit lib.rs has 0 tests. Okay, got it. Running 0 test books. We're good. Not yet implemented. That's all good. And then these ones are failures. Doesn't even run the next one. And we're good to go. Okay. I feel that I almost want to re-record just so that I can make sure I get like this change in here to run the test books, the test ones first, and whatever the heck I did in here. So that's fun. Let's undo these changes. Switch back to the main branch. Okay, so I have that open. We have that set up like that. Okay. What branch name should I give this one? I did the other one. I did assessment solution and I've done solution. So third time's the charm. We'll name this live code solution, maybe. Video solution. We could do video solution. All right. Let's oh, I still had already turned off everything else. So all the alerts and everything else had remaining off. I guess I could turn off cat cam. Everything else is good. We have the timer going for that. So let's we're gonna do another recording again, and we're gonna see how far we can get in this assessment before we need to put a cut to go to work, because I do need to head out in about an hour. I don't know if this entire video and the entire thing would take an hour to go through, but it might. So let's see what we got. So with that, let's record this. Here we go. Hello and welcome to this video walkthrough sort of solution for the SQLx bookstore assessment. Here I am on the course repo for this, And I want to, my recommendation, if you're following through, fork this to your own system first and your own account first. That's weird. I had too many weird flubs in a row. I don't like that. We're gonna try it over again. Okay, take 8 if I count the other ones. All right, let's try again. Hello and welcome to the video walkthrough for the SQLx assessment bookstore assessment. If you're just starting and getting through this, I recommend forking this repo to your own GitHub account and then cloning it locally to work through it. I also recommend trying to get through it on your own before watching this video, but if you do, then follow along and then try again after watching the video. All right, this is gonna be sort of like a live code. I have done this before, so it's not like a fully unprepared walkthrough, but it's still live. Let's go ahead and get going. I have already cloned the repo down locally, and I've started a database. Let's actually just go ahead and reset that just to make sure. So I'm gonna do a docker stop, a docker remove, and a docker run. All right. I've done that quite a bit with this project. We now have a fresh database that has basically nothing inside of it. We're on the main branch here, and we have the latest everything. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new branch for this. So I'm going to create a new branch. I'm going to name this branch video solution. And we should be good to go here. So there's a lot of tests. Oh, I completely forgot. I wanted to make these changes to the main repo before I do this. Okay. But, okay, so delete that branch. I want to, so in main here, I want to, let's see. Okay, so everything's fine here. Oh, I do have this .env. I want to get rid of you. And I want to rename you to 02. I can't remember what rename was. Oh, just enter. 01. Okay. You're upset, yeah, because it has a hit. It's complaining. Okay, so shall we try this again? Take like what, 8? All right, let's do this again. Hello and welcome to the video solution for the SQLx bookstore assessment. We'll be running through and walking through how to complete this assessment in sort of like a live code fashion. So you can see my thought process, and if anything goes wrong, you can see me how I solve it and get through it. I recommend that you attempt to do this assessment all on your own first, but if you ran into trouble, if you got stuck, or if you just rather watch this to go along anyways, then I recommend trying it again without the video afterwards. And then you can like maybe build and burn it 1 or 2 times. Just make sure that you like actually have everything working as the way you expected. Let's go ahead and get started. I already have this this cloned locally, and I've already set up a database for myself. So here you are in VS Code. I want to, let's go ahead and save these up. Change names. I want to create a brand new branch for this, which we're going to call video solution. So create from that. All right. So looking at everything, we have some tests in here that will attempt to run for us, but there's going to be some problems. First of all, these tests are going to attempt to create and run run any migrations. We don't have any right now. It's also some that we're going to attempt to run seeds. Again, we don't have any of those. If we take a look in here and we open them up, it won't even compile because it's basically saying like, hey, this won't work. We need migrations for like just to compile this. Let's go ahead and fix that first. So inside of seeds, in the actually it was in, oh, there you go, seeds readme. We have a CSVs of what we need in the database. This is obviously seeds, but it shows us, okay, for this table we need a book ID and we need a name. Okay, so we can do that. We're gonna want to do the books first, and then authors, and then finally book authors. I already have the SQLx CLI installed, so let's go ahead and get a migration going. So we'll do SQLx migrate add create books. I don't need the down table for this one, so this should just be fine. All right, migration step. I'm gonna do create table if not exists books. We want the book ID, which is going to be a serial. This is also going to be the primary key. We want the name, which is going to be a varchar 255. Okay, so name varchar 255. That's going to be, we want this to be unique. And it cannot be nullable. And I think that's everything that we need to give for this one. There's no default or any other value for you. So that should work for you. Let's create another migration. So we'll do a cargo, no, not cargo, SQLx. Migrate, add, and this is going to be create authors. For create authors, this is going to be create table if not exists authors. We want the author ID, which is going to be a serial and a primary key. And then we want the name, which is a varchar 255. This is also the same thing, unique, not null. Okay. Those are the simple ones. We could run these just to make sure that they're working as expected. So SQLx migrate run. And oh right, it's saying, hey, we need a database. I do have this .env_example. We can copy that. So copy env example to .env. We need to update this to be whatever we have for the actual database. So in that case, for my database, username Postgres, password is keyboardcat, host is localhost, port is 5432, and database is SQLx tutorial. Okay, and let's see. Now let's try running that migration again. Migrate run. There we go. Okay, so it created the books, it created the authors. Now for the join table. So we're going to do a SQLx migrate add I know this is behind me. Hold on, let's make this bigger. SQLx migrate add, and this is going to be book authors. Guess I want to do create book authors. Create book authors. And let's see if we can get this done first try or not. This is always the relations are always the one who's like, wait, how does that work again? And I always have to go look it up, but we'll see. All right, so we want to do a create table if not exists. This is gonna be book authors. We don't have an ID for this table because it's going to be unique per book author itself. So we're going to do a book ID. That's going to be an int. It cannot be null. It can be unique. It doesn't have to be unique because we might have like the same book with multiple authors in here. So let's see that. And then we have a foreign key. So we don't use the foreign key word here. It's going to be references. So references. And then I think it's, it's book ID, references, and then the table names. This is going to be books. Table book ID on delete. We'll just cascade it. We'll see if that works. Then we have author ID. It's an int, not null. It references authors with author ID on delete. Cascade, and then finally, I want a primary key that goes across both of them. I'm gonna do primary key for book ID and author ID. No comma there, semicolon there. Let's see if this runs. So can do a SQLx migrate run, and hey, there it goes. Okay, so that's working. We should now have a database that actually has everything we want in it. I've been using a tool called Postico, which allows me to sort of inspect databases. And we have in here, here's our authors, our book authors, and our books. Okay, so that's good. Next up, I want to be able to seed the database. I want to actually like get some data in there, and then we already have a bunch of seed data in the README here. So this is what we're going to want to put in. All right, let's see. Starting with some books. Now, what we have in seeds is a main file that basically doesn't do anything at all. And we have the library file, which again doesn't really do anything, but it takes in a pool. So the tests are going to actually call the main library function here directly and hand it a pool. But if we want to run it ourselves, we have to create a pool in here, then just run the seeds as a package. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to connect to the database and then pass it to run. So we can actually get the run function right now. So this is seeds run. Okay, so it found it properly. I think it's just yelling at that it's not being used. Oh, use. That would be helpful. Now it's yelling at me because I'm not using it. All right. Let our pool. So PG pool options. Want new. I want to. We could just probably connect straight up to it. Oh, which means that if I want to get that, I want the .env information. We already have installed everything we need for this, so we can just go straight to let .env .env, and then, hey, if it's okay or not, just convert that to an option, and then just sort of let it go. Then I should be able to let the database URI equals, let's give ourselves some more room here. Database URI, so we want standard env var database URL, and we can unwrap with this. If there is a problem, it will crash pretty quickly and let us know what's going on, and then we'll be able to just like fix it and get it going again. Okay, so we've got our database URI. I now want to connect using this database URI. We want to await, and we can unwrap on you, and you should be fine. Great, now I have a pool. We can now call run, pass it the pool. We can await, and again, unwrap because it returns a result. Okay, so you should be happy here, although this program won't really do anything yet. If we take a look at lib.rs, we take in this pool, but nothing's happening with it. We just have this to do, so it would just crash if we try to run it. So we want to set up, we want to run all the seeds all together, and we want to seed all the databases, all the tables at the same time. And if there's a problem, we want it to just not do anything at all, which means a transaction, a bulk insert. So let's go ahead and create a transaction here. So let mute, we have our transaction equals pool.begin. We await and question mark u. Now at the very end, if everything's successful, we want to just commit this. So we're just going to do a transaction. We're going to commit, await, and question mark u. And just okay like that. I did not need to use vim commands for that. All right, so in between here, we kind of need to like do the queries. We could create queries just sort of like written hard-coded in here. These are, I mean, they're not super long, but at the same time, there's enough books in here. It looks like it's 6 books. I think it's going to be easier for us to just write queries in its own file and then use the query file to sort of execute that. So let's go ahead, not in source, in seeds. I want to create a new folder. I'm going to call this queries. And we're going to do a books.SQL. All right, what do we want to do in here? We want to do an insert into books. We don't care about the ID, so we just care about the name. Although we could set the ID too. I think that would be fine. But I think if we set the ID, I don't think that the auto incrementer will increment the IDs properly, and that could cause problems later. Let's just go ahead and set the name. We know the order this is going to run in, so we know the IDs are going to come in, especially if we only run this once. Okay, so insert into books, name, and then values. And then down here, we're going to put, well, all of these books. So let's just go ahead and I can multi-cursor this here, can't I? And we're going to say, go to the end of the line, except this one, which isn't grabbing it because that's not really a line. Oh, okay. It almost got it. I will grab that line. Can I just grab it by making this longer? I can. Okay, perfect. There we go. Copy you. Come to books. And we're going to paste you in. We're going to create a new cursor for every line. We're going to wrap it in quotes. At the end, put a comma in it. And then before I forget, we also wrap these in parentheses. And then the very last one gets a semicolon. All right, I could have done that faster, but it's only 6 of these. It's fine. Okay, so that inserts into the books. Then we want authors. Authors is SQL, and so we're going to do an insert into authors. Again, just the name, values, and it's going to be the same exact thing. So for these authors, let's just go ahead and copy this. I think this is easier. I want to select by the comma. We're going to wrap them in semicolons, wrap them in quotes, put a comma at the end of them, and semicolon the last one. Okay, that should insert all the authors for us. And then finally, we want the book authors. Let's take a look at our README. So we have the IDs, assuming that they're coming in at a blank database. This is what the IDs should be. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same here. Exact same thing here. So insert into book authors. We want book ID. Ooh, good. Something important to take a look at it. This is author ID, book ID. So I want to go backwards on this. So author ID, book ID, values. Throw these in here. For each of you, I want to wrap you in parentheses, and because you're integers, you don't want to be strings, so just commas and the trailing semicolon. Okay, that should make the seeds happy. We need to run them now though. So between the commit and creating the transaction, we want to actually run each of these seeds one by one. We have to start with the authors, and then we'll do books, and then we'll do book authors. Now for each of these, I want to match. I guess like I don't care what the result is. I just want to match if there's an error. So we're just going to use an if let error equals SQLx. We want to use the query file. The file in this case is starting from seeds, so go into queries books.sql. I want to execute this, hand it a mutable reference to a dereferenced transaction, and then we can await you. But I don't want to like put a question mark or anything else because we're grabbing out the error here if there is one. And so if there is one, we want to we probably want to revert back any changes that have happened so far. So we're just going to do a transaction rollback. And then before I roll back, or after that, let's print out this error. So we can ePrintline error inserting error seeding books, and give it the error. Rollback we can await, and in this case we can question mark because we are rollbacking, and then if there's a problem, well then we're really hosed. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's go ahead and run all the others. If let error equals, okay, so this is going to be authors. And finally, we have book authors. Okay, it seems to be happy. We got some reformatting going on. You're upset here. Borrow move transaction. Are you moved? I don't want you to move you. Oh, is rollback moving it? Oh, and rollback, it's moving. Okay, so we do have to do the little let mute is success equals true. So we're gonna start with true, and then here we're gonna say you are false. So is success equals false, and then we'll just continue on. Execute that one. Okay, so this one is gonna be the same thing. Which I can now do that for both. So is success equals false. If at the very bottom here, so if is success, then commit you. Otherwise, transaction, we're gonna roll back, await, question mark cube. Okay, and then don't need to do that. Okay. There we go. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Let's find out. So we have nothing in the database right now. So if I take a look at our, like, let's say authors, nothing in here. Let's go ahead and open up our terminal again. I want to do a cargo. So I'm at the root of the project. Cargo run dash package seeds. That should compile and run seeds. No errors here. And if we come back into our GUI, we now see we have our seeded database. Perfect. So I should be able to do a query here. I have one already sort of set up for this. So this is going to select everything from book authors. We want to join authors, join the books. Just sort of show everything there. And okay, so that's all working. So the database is set up the way we expect it to. Let's move on. In fact, now might be a good time to git commit this. We've made a lot of changes. So just in case something happens, we have seeded and migrated the database. All right. Next up, the actual assessment itself. The first thing that tries to happen is in our source. So let's close up migrations. Let's close up seeds. In our source, we have authors, we have books, and we have a library. The tests are going to work on books first. So I recommend that we start with library, and then we move on to books and then authors. In the library here, we have basically all the code that we want to that we need to like change marked by a to do, and then also with like a short description. So in this case, complete this function so it connects to a Postgres instance and returns the pool. For testing purposes, the PG pool options have already been created for us. All we need to do is configure the connection if we want and need to connect to the database here. So PG pool options, so basically that new PG pool options new has already been called for us. So if we take this, this needs to return a result with the pool in it. So in that case, we know it's going to be an OK. I can take that. We're going to take in this pool options. And we want to do, so we probably want something like max connections. Let's have like 5 at the most. We possibly want, let's see. We could have like min connections or do anything else, but I don't really care. We need connect, and then we need that URL. Oh, right. So we need to set up the URL. So because this might be called separately from the seeds, I need to call that .env again. So .env, we'll convert that to an option and just be okay with it. Say let database URI equals standard env var database URL. And I'll go ahead. I'll expect this one because this one would probably be run a little bit more often, and we want a good message for this one. So this is going to be error missing environment variable database URL. Okay, so that gives us a good error message. If we hit save, that realigns this. Okay, we're good, we're good. You get changed to a reference to the database URL. And if we connect you, we also have to await and question mark that. But then the result is going into this. Okay. I think we're good to go here. No errors and no warnings that I can see. All right. So with that, I think we're ready and we can run our tests. So I played around with tests with SQLx before, and for the most part, they work out pretty well. I think that running them, especially locally, in this assessment, running them one at a time would be helpful. So we're going to do a cargo test, and then the number of jobs we're going to set equal to 1. And all right, what happened here? Well, we get a whole bunch of not yet implemented, but everything else is fine here. So it's basically suggesting that we go to SQLx Bookstore Assessment Source Books. Line 18 is the first thing for us to play around with. So if we go to Books, line 18 here. Well, this is the first one it tried to create, but there's a bunch of types in here. So I don't think there's a problem of which one we're gonna start off with. I'm just gonna go ahead and start from the top to the bottom, and then we can run the test and just see, are they slowly turning green as we do this? For convenience, we've already created a type, this book ID right here, and I think we have some types down here. Yeah, we have like a struct book with authors. We have just a book without the authors. Okay, so little helper types for us to get going with. Let's go here. What do we need to do to create a book? And this is going to return a book ID. Okay, the pool is being handed in to us, so we don't need to worry about that. So I think if I just want to return, and the name is also being handed to us. Let's create, let's do like something like result equals SQLx. We're going to do a query explanation point. Let's do an insert into books. I want the value, I guess like just the name, values, $1, and that $1 is going to be the name. I want to, I do want to return the ID. So let's add in here, returning book ID. I want to fetch 1, and we're going to hand it, we already have a reference to the pool, so we just hand the pool. We can await and question mark you. That should give us what we need, although sometimes we get some, yeah, okay, so it's basically saying like, hey, we're not getting the right thing. Let's keep that to do in here for a second. Now we're not, the Rust Analyzer isn't really helping me out here, but I think we can just sort of get access to it. I want to be able to do an okay result dot book ID. If that lets me do that, and then that's gonna no semicolon. Okay, are you happy? That is happy. Okay, so I just had to sort of know that that's what was going to come back, because Rust Analyzer wasn't really helping me out with this. Let's go ahead and run the test and see if we're a little bit farther. So cargo test. Now we have 2 passing. Should connect and should create a book. Okay, Well, then let's just continue on. Next one down. Retrieve, so get book by ID. Retrieve a single book from the database and return it. We don't care about the authors of this book yet. In the case that the provided ID doesn't exist in the database, return a none. And so we can see we're going to have a result option none here. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we're going to take in a pool. We're going to take in a book ID. I want to do a let result equals a SQLx query. Now this could be a query as, because we know the type that we want to get out. The first type, now we have this down here, that book. So I want to use this book. Then the queries can be select. I want everything, so select star from books where book ID is equal to $1. Our $1 in this case is going to be the book ID. And we have a couple choices here. So we can fetch, I think it's fetch optional is an option here. Optional, we pass it the pool, we await, and then we question mark for you in case that fails. You're happy, so we know this is working. But the result should actually be a book and an option. So I should actually just be able to wrap this all in an okay. And that's it. So if we do that, there we go. Okay, that should work. Let's double check that works by running the test. And 3 passing now. Okay, great. Next up, retrieve all the books in the database and return them. We don't care about the authors yet, so this will just be a vector of simple book objects. All right, this should be pretty simple. It should be very similar to the get one, except we don't care about the where statement. So we could try going directly to this one. Let's see. So if we do an OK directly, we can do then a SQLx query. I want to query as. This is going to be a book, and we're going to do a select star from books, and that's it. That should get us everything. I don't want a semicolon. We just want to get that. Oh, we want to fetch all. So fetch all. Pass it in the pool. Wait. And question mark you. And that should be working for this. Let's run the test. I do recommend, if you're going through this, just run the test after every single time, just to make sure the number goes up. If it fails, it's fresh in mind, we can go back and fix it right then. Update a book. Okay, so update the book's name with the given ID in the database. So we don't want to update the ID of this. We don't want to let users do that. And notice we're going to return just nothing at all here. So that's going to be fine. We're going to start with okay, like that. And then update the book. Okay, so let's take in the new name. We have the book ID that we want to update, and we have the pool. Okay, so I don't care about the return of this. This will be an execute. So that'll be a SQLx. We want a query, just a query. So this is going to be a update books. We want to set the name equal to $1. So that'll be the name, where the book ID is equal to $2. We'll pass in, okay, so $1 is going to be the name, and $2 is going to be the book ID. We want to execute, pass in the pool, we'll await, and question mark u, and then that should be it. That should run this. That should update the books. Let's find out if we were correct. And there it is. Should update the book. Okay, awesome. We're almost to the end of the books. Permanently delete the book with a given ID from the database. And if we notice, again, we're returning nothing at the end. So we have the book ID that we want to delete, and we have the pool to help us do it. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna start by returning just the nothing because that's the easiest thing to do. And then we're just gonna run our SQLx query. So SQLx, gonna do a query. We want to delete from books where book ID is equal to $1 book ID. We want to just execute this, hand it the pool, await, question mark u, and then that should work for this. No errors, so let's go ahead and run this. And delete a book. Okay, perfect. We're done there. Next up, create a book and its author at the same time and associate them together in a database. Return a tuple with the book and author IDs. Since this is a bulk operation, make sure that if any command fails during it, the database is left unchanged. Okay, so we have to do this testing our ability to do a bulk insert. And so we have a result. We have the tuple that we're expecting to get back. So book ID first, author ID second. We're taking in pool, book name, and the author name. Okay, well, this is a bulk insert scenario, so we already know how to do that. That's going to be the transaction, right? So we let mute transaction equals so you're going to be a trans pool. We're going to begin, await, question mark u. Let's get that is success since we know we need it. Equals we're going to start by saying they were true, and then I just want to go straight to the end, then we'll write the middle afterwards. So if we're successful, then we're going to do the transaction. We're going to commit it, await you, and question mark that. Otherwise, we're going to transaction dot rollback and await you, question mark that. Now, if we roll back, I probably don't want to return. I can't return that we created it, so I want to bail out of here. Result has, or sorry, the error library I'm using has a bail macro here that we can use. So we're going to use that. We're going to say bail error. Let's see. We don't know what the error is necessarily, so we're just going to say, hey, we're bailing out. There was an error running, error inserting book and author together. And semicolon u, and at the very end here, we can just return okay. And then we need some tuple of what this is. So we need something like that. We don't know what it is yet. We'll figure it out. I'm just gonna say 1 and 2, but we have to come back and fix that. Okay, first one. We can insert the book and author in any order that we want. We have, this is the books file, so let's just go book first. And then I want the book ID out of it. Now I could call this insert up here, right? Because this gives us a book ID out. So we could just do that. So let's see. Let the book ID, it's gonna be equal to, now I don't have to call self because it's just a function in here. This is gonna be a create book. Create book, we can hand it a reference to the pool, which we already have, and then the name, which is the book name. We can await. Now I can't really question mark this, so we're gonna match this. So match on you. So if we're okay, we have the ID in here, and I want to return the ID. If we don't have an okay, okay. I actually want to return early, don't I? So I'm gonna change this up a little bit. We're gonna say error. I can actually bail out of here. So let's do our transaction rollback right here. And then I want to exit early. So we can do just a return, or I can just bail and we're say error inserting book. We have the error here, so I might be able to just return, use the actual return keyword, return error. If I do that, let's see, this is the match here. I need semicolon, and then you're happy. Okay, so let's use this pattern. Now for the second one, I don't have a create author yet. There is a create author that we're going to be doing in the test authors. So maybe we should just go do that now. And then we'll see whether or not that works in this test. And it'll be, this test is done for us really quickly. So create author. All right, we know how to do this. It's the exact same thing. We just have a name and a pool. This is all part of the build and burn to help like really solidify this in our brains and our muscle memory by just repeating it over and over and over again. It's drills. Okay, so I want to get the author ID and return it. So we know how to do that. So we might be able to be clever and do this all in one line. So we can return an okay. And inside of here, we're going to do a SQLx. We want, it's possible to do it with SQLx. It's not quite as nice. Let me do it in 2 lines. So we're going to do let result equals SQLx, and do query. This is going to be a insert into authors. Want the name, values of $1, the name. We are going to fetch 1, hand it the pool. We're going to await and question mark that. And now we can return okay, result.author ID. Okay, that should make you happy. No field. Oh, I forgot the returning. Returning author ID. There we go. Okay, so now I'm pretty confident that's going to work. If we come back to books again, we can now use that function here. So we're going to do let author ID equals, we're going to match again. So create author, pass it the pool, pass it the author name. We're going to await if we get the ID. Okay. We return that. If we get the error, we are going to roll back. So transaction, roll back, wait, semicolon. Now, last time we tried this, we ran into a problem because of ownership, right? But this time, because we're returning early, it knows that it's never going to run this if this error happened. So it knows that this transaction is still available for us to use. That's why this method works here and not in the way we tried to do it previously. Let's go ahead and return an error to be handled, semicolon u. And okay, so now we have book ID and we have the author ID. Excellent. If we're a success, we're gonna commit this. There should never be a time when we don't have a success by this point now, because we've already handled that. So we don't actually need the is success here. And then finally, we want to return, instead of 1 and 2, we're going to say, I believe it was book ID, and then author ID. So this will be book ID, author ID, and that's it. Okay, let's see whether or not that worked. Gonna run our tests again. And let's see. Ooh, should create book and author together. Okay, so that failed. What happened? Should create book and author together, standard out. No rows returned by a query that expected to return at least one row. So in 01 test books, we can actually go to that. So 01 test books, line 121. So it tries to do a query. So it basically, okay, create book and author. We get this back. And it wants to, okay, so it's doing this basically a select here where the book ID is the book ID and the author ID is the author ID. And it fetched one and it expected to get something back, but it didn't. Interesting. It should have with this, right? I would have expected it to. Did I like fail to save it? I don't think so. So we have create books and authors. Returning the book ID first and the author ID second. You're saying that doesn't need to be mutable. Oh, it doesn't need to be mutable. We're doing this not in the right transaction. Okay, okay. So hold on. Match create book. Ooh, so this, I don't actually think I can do the create book here because I have to pass it a pull. And then once I start a transaction, I can't get the same, I can't get the pull back out from the transaction. So we're just gonna have to do this manually here. So this is gonna be SQLx. We're gonna do a query like that. Our SQL is gonna be insert into books, name, values, $1, returning book ID. And then that should make you happy here. Okay. So we await. And then if we get that, okay, that should be, before the await, we need the dot fetch one, and then pass it a mutable reference to a dereferenced transaction. Okay. Now we get an error here. You're upset now. Mismatch types, expected report found an error. Now, if I do a dot into on this, I think that a report, the report that I'm using, the error library I'm using, that will make it happy. Okay, let's do the exact same thing over here. So match create author. So this is going to be SQLx query. Instead of the pool here, we're going to do insert into authors, name, values, $1, where, no, not where. returning author ID. Okay, so we pass it that. For the await, we do the dot fetch 1. We pass it a mutable reference to a dereferenced transaction. And then we do the exact same thing, error into. Okay, and then you're upset here. Mismatch types expected. Oh, I32 found a record. Oh, because they're not. These are I32s, right? I32. And then you're supposed to be a result of that. Okay. Okay. Are you upset? I don't trust this. Let's go ahead and run the tests and see whether or not it's actually, oh no, okay, so it found record. Why are you record? Oh, okay, so Rust Analyzer is not helping me out here. So in this book ID, so insert that. This is a record here that's coming back. So it's a record. And I want to do record dot book ID. And then we want to do the exact same thing here. So this is going to be a record dot author ID. And immediately it stops giving me the errors, but this is like one of the examples where Rust Analyzer is not really helping out very much. Let's try this again. Okay, passed. So should create a book and author together. That failed again. No rows returned by a query. They expected to return at least one row. Let's see what's going on with this. Now, with this specific test, if we go and take a look at it again, we notice that it's not seeding the database first. And most of these other ones, I believe, I don't think all of them are, but I think some of them are seeding the database. This is the only one that's just trying to create both an author and a book together, though. So we can inspect the database and sort of like try to see what's going on. SQLx is creating these test database for us, and if they fail, they leave them here. Otherwise, they delete them. So we have two. One of them doesn't do anything at all, so it should just be completely empty. And the other one, we should see our stuff in it. So this one's empty. This one doesn't have an author. This one has several authors. Okay. I didn't see this one run the seeds. And if we go down here, this one, the first thing that it does is run the seeds. So my guess is that this is the one I want to look at. And I notice that there are no authors. Okay. Well, that's a problem. What did I do? I'm sure it's something simple. It usually is. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, so I moved the transaction rollbacks to here, which means I remove that is success and therefore remove the if statement at the very end. However, when I did that, I deleted the commit, which kind of is important because the commit is when it tells the database, hey, do the thing, like actually commit it into data, into the disk drive. So because I didn't do that, it just sort of stayed not actually having happened. Let's fix that. So we're going to do transaction, commit, await, question mark U. Let's see if that line right there fixes it. The tests start getting a little bit longer to run now. Failure. Okay, so this still failed, but it failed with a different error now. So let's see what we got. She gets all books and authors together. Panicked at okay, books line 111. So if we go and take a look at that, that's should get all books with authors. Oh. Oh wait, that should get all books. Hold on. Should create author. I should look at this error. Could not clean test database. SQLx text 57 is being accessed by, okay. So yeah, in this, I access this database. Let's click back out here. Let's try running that again. It tries to sort of delete those databases at the beginning and at the end of tests. And so me sort of sitting there was causing problems. All right, still had a create a book and author together failure. Still being accessed by other users. Okay. I think, I'm still accessing here. Let's connect into that database. Maybe that will make it happier. Otherwise, I can just, you know what? Let's just close this window altogether. That should be the safest. Still should create book and author together, still failed. No rows returned by a query that expected to return at least one row. Okay. So it's the same problem again. Let's connect in, take a look. We have 85. Okay, so that one has all of them. That's probably not the right one. And that one has one of them. Okay, so this one committed in. So we have authors with author ID 1. We have books, okay, with book ID 1. And book authors. Oh, yeah. Okay, I completely forgot. I kind of failed to finish what we're supposed to do, which is and associate them together in the database. I didn't create the join. I didn't create the insert into the join table using the two author IDs. Let's do that now. So we're gonna say I don't need any return for this. We're just gonna do a SQLx query insert into book authors. I want book ID, author ID, values is a little bit behind me now. Let's change that. Values to be $1 and $2. Okay, for you, we want the book ID first, and then the author ID second. We're going to end this with a execute. Pass it the mutable reference to the transaction, to the dereferenced transaction. And then await. Oh, no, we need the fetch to make sure it's okay. So we're going to do fetch. We need a match. Match with that. We await. If we're okay, I don't really care. It's a null operation. Ooh, okay. So actually, I don't want to match. I want an if let error. So if let error, we have this error now. I probably just want to bail this error. We want to first do a transaction rollback. We await question mark U, and then we're going to return early an error into. Okay, so, and then I want an equal sign in here. And that should make you happy. Let's now see if this makes the test pass. Am I still using the database? What happened? Oh, what? Wait, it passed. Should create a book and author together. Excellent. Okay, so we got that passing, which means we have one more test inside of here. I'm running a little bit out of time in this session right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, and then I'll continue recording this at a later time, and we'll finish it out. So we'll see you in a second. All right, and that's the record. That's the end of the recording for that one. I'll have to like cut a little tiny bit at the end while I look down at the record button, and then maybe like do one of those little weird transition things. And then later today, we can finish recording this. I think we're much farther and much better than last time. Boltverse Dad, how are you doing? Ninjatron, hello, hello. How are you doing too? All right, so I definitely want to commit all of this stuff. So Ninja, you're gonna be back streaming next week. You're out of town right now. Yeah, I've experimented. Have you ever looked and experimented at like remote streaming, like when you're traveling? It's surprisingly possible. I ended up I bought it's like somewhere upstairs, but I bought a antenna, like an external cell antenna that I can it does a extension essentially. So it grabs the cell data, and it creates a little point, access point, that then I can connect to with my computer, and my computer thinks it's just a normal access point, so it won't like slow it down or anything else, and then I can stream out of that. And we did a couple tests a while ago, and it worked surprisingly well. I did have to drop it down to like, really, like I had to do like the high latency, and I had to do the low resolution, like not, we're not like super high, like great looking, but it worked, and there were very few hiccups. Oh yeah, if your Linux machine has trouble like just doing streaming already on its own, that's not gonna work. Something though that like once I'm making like enough money for this, I want to experiment with, or maybe like when the second version comes out, uh the the Valve Steam Decks are just like Linux computers, but can play games. They have good graphics cards. I kind of wonder if I got one of those, I could just like use that as the streaming computer. And then you can have like a really basic, simple computer for like programming, and you can have a Steam Deck for streaming, and you can have like a remote two system setup for like it all fits in one backpack. It'd be really nice. Okay. So what do we do? Break. We created migrations, created seeds. We completed all but one books queries. Okay, and just for safety, I'll publish this branch too. Oh, do you have a Steam Deck? Yeah, it was one of the things that I was thinking about when I heard people were using it to like just run Linux on it, and they were running Linux in order to like get some emulators and do some other fun things. And like my first thought was like, this can be a dev machine. The other thing that could work, the Raspberry Pi 5 has been announced. Has it been released yet? If it has, that might be good enough to be a stream box as well. It's surprising how good the 4 was. The 5 might be good. Even better, theoretically. Although it was really hard to get a 4 for a long time. So I'm a little bit worried that we're not going to see the 5s in the stores for like half a year to a year. It should be fine. It should be fine as long as you're not trying to do like 4K. But like when we're doing programming type stuff, you don't need 4K to be able to read all this stuff. Like 1920 by 1080 should be good enough. And then you can drop the resolution down to like 3000, or I think like the worst I was able to do before people started complaining about fuzziness was like 1500 kilobits per second, I think. Like that, the rate they were sending it out at. Oh, and frames per second, you might be able to get away with like 20, like at the very worst. Just don't move around too much. And then if we need to like not use a camera, that would help, I suppose. So all sorts of little tricks we can probably play. But OBS should install on it no problem, I would assume. Twitch does max out the bit rate, definitely. But like they allow you to do like 8K if you wanted to. And I once tried a 4K stream, but because I'm not a partner, anybody who's watching was forced to watch it at 4K, which basically meant that anybody who's on mobile, I drained their battery, ruined their data, and ruined the stream. Like it still didn't like improve their like what they saw at all. So I think like it's you have to be like a partner for them to do the things where it's like, okay, we're gonna break it out into like multiple resolutions for everybody to watch on their devices, which kind of sucks. Like it's like one of the only benefits to being a partner with Twitch, as far as I can tell. All right, I've got that committed. I've got that up. I'm gonna leave this exactly as it is right here. So that way, later tonight or later this afternoon, I'll be streaming again. We'll just pick this up. We'll do another video, which reminds me, I should rename that one. Oh, I have my first failed attempt, so that one goes away. Then you are, what do I name you? This is SQLx assessment walkthrough part 1. Okay, perfect. I'll just leave that in there. Then later tonight, we'll do another recording and add on to it and maybe get done and be ready for like, and start figuring out like how we're going to run this thing. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Have a great rest of your Monday. And I will be back this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. And I've updated my schedule. It's basically streaming every single morning and afternoon except Wednesday afternoon. I got a haircut appointment. So Thursday morning you'll see me with a little bit less hair. So with that, have a great rest of your days, and I'll see you next later today. Bye.